stocks and them stopping people from selling their stocks when the whole GameStop thing went down. So Ice Cube found out that they had basically they owe him some money basically, and so Tony, being our brand expert, can you bring us up to speed on what is going on with Ice Cube and Robinhood?
Okay, well, currently what is happening is that Robin Hood had taken the liberty, allegedly, to use his likeness in some of their advertisements and misquoted some of the lyrics in his song. So Ice Cube does not want to have anything to do with Robin Hood because he feels this is a sham, and so he is waging a legal battle for misuse of his image, which he did not approve. So he and his lawyers are waiting his day in court. Robinhood said that they licensed it out, but apparently Ice Cube didn't get that memo. So he wants them to cease and desist everything that has to do with using his image. So we're interested to find out what happens with that, because a lot of times, I feel that just from the knowledge I have, sometimes your image could be licensed out and you don't know about it. And, so it'll be interesting to see what they dig up and find as far as the legitimacy is concerned with them using his image. I just kind of feel like, I think everything's going to come to light. It'll be interesting to see what happens and if they have to pay up for usage of his image.
I got a question, Tony. How could they license out his music if he doesn't know about it? Like I'm not familiar with that part, but I really feel like Ice Cube is one of those type of people that like owns all his own stuff. You know what I'm saying? But then again, he may have licensed it out to somebody who then partnered with them and had the licensing agreement. But is there a way to actually for him to access his music without him knowing about it? Wouldn't he have to sign off on that?
Well, two things. First of all, it was his image, and secondly, it was some lyrics that they misquoted. So what they may have tried to do in the ad, they probably tried to do a take on it. So they got as close as they could to it without actually doing it. So that would loop them out of any maybe legalities. But that the song is closely related to Ice Cube, so it'd be kind of hard to get away from that. That's like copyright infringement. So it's oftentimes hard to get away from that. And then secondly, it's just like when you used to see like these images of Kobe on all these T-shirts. Those images are supposed to be someone that handles that. So your estate or your manager or whatever company that you have, that you can pay a fee for your image to appear on a T-shirt. Right. So what they may have done is they may have bought stock footage of him and utilized that. And then if they bought stock footage, then there wouldn't be any legal responsibilities for them because they have paid for the rights to use it. And that's what he probably may or may not understand or know about.
Got it. Cecily, I know you're very versed in the whole Robin Hood and the that whole thing, the stock market and that. How do you think it's a bad idea for him to be tied to them, or like what's your thoughts on that? You being versed on Robin Hood.
I'm ready for Robin Hood to leave the chat. I am not a fan of them. They caused a lot of havoc a couple months ago with the Wall Street bet stuff, and the owner is just very unapologetic about what took place. And I think they are those Silicon Valley playboys that think that they can do whatever they want to. And although I think that Tony's idea might be feasible, however, just because you buy stock footage doesn't mean that you can buy for certain things. There's still certain rights that they still have to adhere to. So they will be coming out of pocket, but they're clamoring right now to find some sort of connection to their former demographic, which is all, a lot of young men, a lot of hip hop heads, a lot of people who are enthusiasts of this music and love Ice Cube. And it's a desperate attempt to reel them back in.
Got it. I once again, I don't know anything about stock. The only stock I have is in my cabinet. I have some beef stock and I have some chicken stock. But what I do know is that my son trades stock, and he was telling me that it was exposed that they were, I guess, the CEO of this app or whatever. They had partnered with one of the hedge funds, and they were selling the trends of the stock, so they could like short the loans. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but this is what he was telling me. Yep. And so I feel like that's kind of underhanded. How can you have a stock and then have an app for people to buy stock against that sounds real crooked.
in the a very short version, they prevented us from selling and prevented us from buying. So if you were locked in and you didn't get out soon enough, you saw your profits dwindle and die. It's unprecedented how crazy that was. And yeah, so stick it to them. I hope they lose all their money. I hope that man is broke, busted, and disgusted by the end of it.
I got it. Matthew, ambush question. So Robin Hood, the app, was developed by a guy on a horse with a bow and arrow in what forest?
What?
In what forest? Bro, I haven't seen Robin Hood since the 90s, bro. I haven't seen Robin Hood since we had a VHS, my dude.
Yo,
okay, so we have voice actors and everything.
Cecily, to steal the point. What forest is it?
That fresh cut right there. That's all I remember from Robin Hood, man. And it was like a fox with a green hat making moves all through the forest.
That's enough details. What was it at, Cecily?
It's Sherwood Forest, right?
It's right, exactly. It's in the valley, right over Sherwood.
Yeah, it's around the corner from me.
Oh, wow, yeah. I don't
yo, hey,
I don't know anything
that's what's
about
up.
that.
Yeah, your audio's kind of, you okay over there?
Right.
Your audio's kind of muffled a little bit.
Me?
Just a little bit. Yeah, no, the guy behind you. Yeah, you.
The
other.
No, it's just the microphone. Whatever. You here? We're grateful that you're here. But speaking of men on horses and riding off into the sunset, our boy had a rough week this week. I don't think he cares because he's king of the clap back. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really think he cares, but it's been a rough week. So last week, the Old Town Road rapper set the Christian internet ablaze when he took a fork in the road and totally went left. Lil Nas X, whose real name is Montero Lamar Hill, he rose to mega fame with his first single that was critically acclaimed and awarded by the Grammys and Country Music Awards. The song was adopted as the national children's anthem by parents all across the United States, even though Lil Nas X has repeatedly voiced that he is not a children's artist. And that's even before he came out as gay. Ally. The album art literally was him riding into a city with rainbow buildings. But that's another show. We'll pick that up later. But he dropped his long-awaited single, "Call Me by Your Name," as it's known by the Christian majority as Montero, and the uproar heard around the globe was almost instantaneous. The graphics were a video of a multi-themed biblical proportions of Nas descending to hell on a stripper pole that landed in Satan's lap with a lap dance. And I thought it was dope myself. I thought it was dope, but I think I was alone in that. So, but like for me, like here's my take on the visual, right? Montero is his real name, right? So Montero is him, and because that's his real government name, he called Montero the place which Adam and Eve were created with the serpent in the beginning. The serpent is the community forcing him to come out the closet, which he did last year. He leaves Montero himself coming out and becomes Lil Nas X. Now he's in the music industry and he is in chains. That's what him in the chains, and they're walking him through. And he is they're trying to force him to take on this heteronormative image, and won't let him be himself artistically and sexually. So he has an epiphany as he descends to heaven, and he realizes that, hey, I don't want to be in heaven if heaven means that I have to be somebody else. So then he basically decides, fuck that. If y'all telling me I'm going to hell, then I'm going to hell in my own way. And so he descends down to hell on a stripper pole to dance with the devil, which is what they call this is what they call side. They say, oh, the rapper sold their soul to the devil. So he took the stripper pole down to hell to dance with the devil, and then that represents society and the music industry himself. But because the music industry wants to control him, he waits for the perfect opportunity, snaps the devil's neck, takes off the horns, puts them on himself, and becomes his own dark angel to control his own music and his own creativity moving forward. That's what I got from the video. Mind you, gay don't bother me, gay people don't bother me. None of the visuals bother me. Like I grew up a real special kid. I watched something like heavy metal, like really like adult cartoons as a kid. So you know what I'm saying? I felt like, I was like, this is dope, like this is genius. But once again, I was alone. So basically he put out a shoe with it was like a bunch of symbolic Satan stuff on there, which every musician all over town, like there's like every musician ever, you know what I'm saying? Like even Elvis Presley, like his daughter came out and said, like he for a minute he was into if you roll a graphic, there's a plethora of artists that you see. All these people right here, all of them have at some point had devil worship in their music way before Montero, way before. I mean, even rappers, 3 6 Mafia, Trippie Redd, Bone Thugs and Harmony. All these people had satanic symbolism in their music before Lil Nas X. But for some reason, Lil Nas X is the devil incarnate. And so all the MAGA moms and the R. Kelly dads all got up in an uproar, and they pressed Nike to basically pull the shoe, even though it wasn't Nike shoe. Nike sold the shoe. Nike sells the shoes to these hype beasts who then flip the shoes and make them into what they want them to be. They flip the shoe, turned it into a satanic shoe. Not if you put the shoes on, you're gonna go to hell or something like that. It was just branding. It's like if I did an album about carrots and then I sold gold carrot necklaces. It's like I'm not trying to turn you into a rabbit, you know what I'm saying? But everybody flipped out, and so now they stopped the shoe, they shut it all down, even though the shoe's pre-sold in zero flat, and now he can't sell the shoe. So now you got to come up with a creative way to get these people their shoes. And I just feel like it was overkill. I feel like it was selective outrage. And I think the underlying part being is that I think they're just mad that he's gay. I think they're using whatever they can to vilify him because they wanted him to stay the old hokey pokey Old Town Road God that their kids love. And he was like, Old Town Road, he came out and said it. Old Town Road was about adultery and drinking lean. I didn't tell y'all that was a kid song. It just had a kiddie tune and y'all fell in love with it. But that's what happened to him, and I feel like it's crazy. What are y'all thoughts?
Wow.
Well, I want to say I feel like with him, I agree with you, man. As far as like people are treating him a different way because he's a gay guy and he's coming out with so much aggressive expression. And I say aggressive expression because that's how everyone looks at it. I think that he's being artistic. I mean, you got Marilyn Manson, you have so many artists that has been different, and then here you go, you have this black man whose story isn't like of a Meek Mill, who we glorify that story. Okay, Meek Mill, your passion in life allowed you to be this dope rapper. Why can't we? And that you have to fight the demons of the justice system and all this stuff. Why we can't say that this man is going through the same thing? So I support him. I support. I'm real heavy on true artistry. He's proven that he's a person that's going to be in the game. He's proven what type of individual he is within the game. And so I feel like, let him do what he do. I think it's I mean, obviously the shoe sold. People don't buy stuff that's offensive. I tell you that. Right.
What they do though.
Shoe, I don't know if it would have sold.
The one thing about art, it's up to you. It's how it makes you feel. So if people wanted to, I was gonna buy a pair. My internet's too slow, so I couldn't beat the bots over there to get my pair, but I was gonna get my pair and wear them to church as soon as church opened back up. Okay, because they had like the devil's blood was in the shoe. It was a drop. It was literally a drop of blood from an employee at the company who made the shoe. It was just PR. It was like, oh, the shoe has blood in it. It was like a drop of blood from Karen at the front desk. Like it wasn't like worst case scenario. You put the shoe on and you turn it into a PA. Like, come on. Cecily, how you feel? How do you feel about this whole situation?
I really feel bad for him because I think that they got really caught up in the concept and they thought that this would be a beautiful way to kind of rebrand him on from a PR standpoint. Yeah. And I think they needed to leak the whole concept, because it really did center around, honestly, his sexuality and him being vilified for that and just trying to be himself. I think it was very ambitious, but at the same time, people are not there with you. We don't live in that kind of world. And so he needed to let us know in a way and just to describe what he wanted to do and walk us through the process. I even see a, making of the video kind of thing, just to go along the lines of this is what this means, what that means. And that way we can hear in his own voice what it means to him. I would love to hear how excited he was when he saw the first cut of this. Like I would be able to see the guy, because I know him as Old Town Road. I don't know anything else about him. To hear him talk about, this is my opportunity, my sophomore attempt to tell the world who I am and to discuss the struggles I have with me portraying who I am, and you guys wanted me to be someone else. And this whole taboo thing about the art, rap, like people who, you know what I mean? You know where I'm going with it. So I know tons of gay rappers. I've always known them. They always existed. This is not anything new. And I don't know why people feel like we're attacking like this last frontier. Like rap cannot be gay. It's just like, what are you talking about? Your favorite rappers are gay. Going to the next person.
No, but I totally agree. Well, here's what I like in this too, and Matthew, you can let me know if you agree or not. Here's what I like in this too. All right, I liken this to every Disney artist who came out: Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Justin Timberlake, and they were all kids, and they were all doing all the hokey pokey, all that. And they went to the whole boy band, girl crush, all that. Love me some more, don't break my heart. And then the moment they tried to do Poison, or the moment they tried to become Christina X or whatever, then the industry turned on them because it's like, no, we're making so much money off of you being this weirdo nice kid. You know what I'm saying? Why would you switch that up? And my question to Matthew, I'm your homeboy, right? Me and you homeboys. I invite you. I say, Matt, come to the crib. I'm about to show you. I'm about to drop my new project. I'm going to show it to you first. You watch my whole visual. Do you tell me to drop that shit, and fuck them, or do you be like, yo, this might be a little heavy?
You know, the funny thing about it nowadays, I don't know how much bad publicity there actually is, right? Like I'm trying to think of every scandal, and unless you're like truly doing something immoral or illegal, you're gonna survive the scandal. I mean, look at the Kardashians. Like when that all broke down, right? Ray J and Kim K. When that broke down, what happened? Everyone's good to go, right? Everyone is good to go. So all I gotta say, if Ozzy Osbourne can eat a bat on stage,
Thank you.
Nas X is gonna be okay.
Thank you. Like rock bands are like literally eating chickens.
What is that?
I think Lil Nas X is entered the chat.
All right.
Lil Nas X. I agree. Like Bone Thugs-n-Harmony, they had Ouija boards. Matter of fact, what's his name? Mr. 400. What's his name? The rapper. I'm not good with these rappers, but what's the blood dude from YG? YG has a video out now, right, where he is wrestling with the devil, right? But in the entire video is a human sacrifice with blood splashing all over everybody, naked girls dancing. He's blood walking on top of the devil symbol inside some kind of vent. I'm like, this is way worse than the cartoon that I just watched. But I just feel like if YG came out with a red Draco, and he said that a drop of blood of your ops was on every bullet, I feel like everybody would want it. Everybody be trying to get the red 9mm with the bullets, with the drop of blood for your enemies. If he did that, every hood nigga in the world be trying to break in the gun store. Right?
That's good marketing. I would buy one.
Well, now you're saying that would be the blood of the actual murder? Is that what you're saying?
No, hey.
Oh, okay.
I'm just
trying to say I don't want it to be a thing where like they test the DNA. Next, you know, they solve the case, they crack the code. Next, you know, plus Ray Sherman or whatever, or Bobby Shmurda, and you actually have to serve time. That's all I'm saying. I think that's when it's getting crazy.
Hey, there's no such thing as bad publicity. You said even from behind bars.
Well, it's not illegal or moral. I'm saying if you got to go to jail, then that's a whole different ballgame. That's all I'm saying.
Right. So, Joshua Engel was asking, what about the real blood in the shoe? Joshua, it was one drop of blood from the secretary at the front desk. It wasn't like real, like it wasn't like they tied somebody down and had like a seance and the blood shot out and they caught it in it was like the girl at the front desk, like, give me your finger. Boop, bloop. There it is. It's in the shoe. Okay, so the rest of that bottom of the shoe is just red ink. So it's red ink inside the air bubble with enough, not even enough blood to take your blood pressure. Like you couldn't even take your blood sugar reading with the amount of blood that was in the bottom of that shoe. The rest of it was red ink. It was just promo. It was just promo. And I don't know who's eating. Somebody's computer's been eaten by gremlins, but it is what it is. But that's a great question. That's a great question. What about the blood? Like I think here's what happened. Here's what I think happened, and then we can move on. What I think happened is somebody said, "Oh, Lil Nas X is lap dancing with the devil." Oh, look. So first of all, look, they told him you're gay, so you're going to hell. He said, "Okay, let me show you how I'm getting there." He's like, "Let me show you. Let me make it a party. Since y'all keep telling me I'm going to hell, which I know I'm not, because I think we should all know that being gay alone does not make you miss heaven. There's a lot of other things out there that can make you not be God's most favorite child. But being yourself is probably the last thing on the list. But everybody's face is like, okay, so we're looking at this. Look, but anyway, so Lil Nas X blocked the shoe came out, they blocked the shoe, and then the judge came out, the judge said the shoe can't sell, and that's it for the devil. Hopefully changing topics will make whatever demon that is living out of the show to go away. What is that?
I've like muted everyone to see who's responsible, and it's quiet. So it's not me and it's not Mike.
Okay, so
look, everybody's all. Are you guys frozen? Okay, so I'm going to bring you back one by one. I'm going to go. Who is it?
We haven't.
Can you hear us?
It's the Ghostbusters. We're about to find.
Okay, so then I'm bringing Corey. Corey back in. Corey. Okay, all right. Why is it quiet now? Y'all need to quit it.
There it is.
Now, do you hear it?
Can we hear the audience? Lil Nas X.
So Brooklyn Martin says that y'all was about to run hearing them sirens.
Hey,
I grew up in the hood.
Look, I got my sage. I was about to smoke this whole screen out. Look. Okay, so anyway, moving on from the outer realms and bringing everything back into the universe that we live in without that gargoyle that's munching on somebody's keyboard. It was, speaking of fire, right? It was another couple that really wanted to smoke this week, and we would have known nothing about it, but our lovely haters over at TMZ who will not pass up an opportunity to dig up dirt on whoever it is that won't give their ass the time of day, went and pulled the footage of two of our favorite rappers who are going through what the industry is mourning over, probably the biggest breakup of 2020, Quavo and Saweetie. Sus, what were they fighting over? Please tell me what's in that Call of Duty suitcase.
I don't know, but you're right. The video footage of this violent fight, it was violent. It was not a little squabble. It was a full-on fight happened between both Quavo and Saweetie. Basically surfaced this week. I don't know how they got it, but they put it out there. And I'm going to just give you a little snippet just so you can see what we're talking. I really did feel for her because in the video, you can see there's moments where he's wanting to help her, but he's upset at her. So he just kind of like doesn't know what to do. And she's on the ground for at least a minute and a half. The elevator doors open up. Someone looks. He does not get on. And she just kind of hobbles out. So I did feel a kinship with her because I've been in those kind of situations before. You know, people that will mess with you when no one's looking, which I find to be cowardly. But since this has actually surfaced, the police actually want to talk to them, and there's a possibility that they both could be charged for being involved in this incident, which is kind of crazy.
What the weird thing for me was that when the elevator first opens, you know, because I do forensics on these types of things. When the elevator first opens, it's Saweetie that's beating Quavo ass. Like, yeah. Sweetie's beating up Quavo. And then the elevator doors open. She tries to grab what we're gonna call the Call of Duty case, because that's what it is actually. Now I'm not saying the Call of Duty was in there. It might have been some soldiers in the bag in the box, but the Call of Duty case. She tries to grab the Call of Duty case and run, and then he grabs the case, and then that's where we'll differ in opinion. Because I've seen. I'm not saying what happened was okay. I just didn't see a fight. I saw an argument that was physical in nature, but I didn't see any. When I think of a fight, I think of like punch. But I'm not saying that it was okay. It was not okay. But if my homeboy was like, yo, me and my girl got to a fight, and he showed me that video, I'd be like, well, what if is this Simone?
Well, we don't know what took place, and it almost looks laughable. And a lot of people are having a kiki on it. But we don't know we don't know what's going on. And at the end of the day, if Quavo wanted to knock her on her ass, he could. He's much more powerful than she is. And I thought I would take the opportunity because I didn't want to lead with such a heavy weighted sort of topic. And I wanted to kind of like change gears. Now, I wanted to offer a disclaimer. In no way am I making fun of domestic violence, or I'm even trying to make this situation seem light. But I thought since it was on an elevator, that maybe I could come up with a segment that is called Guess That Elevator Beatdown Music, perhaps?
Elevator music, y'all. Elevator music.
Yeah. So I've carefully selected some elevator music songs for very famous beatdowns in history.
Okay.
And so I'm starting with Quavo and Sweetie. I have these 3 songs. Give No Fucks.
Okay.
I have Tap In, but my remix is Tap Out because she had enough when she was on the ground, right?
Yeah, she did.
And then I have And Back to the Streets.
Hilarious.
I'm gonna go back to the streets.
Back to the streets.
I'll back to the streets because I feel like this led to the breakup that led to the false rumors that he repoed her Bentley and this, that, and the third, which was a lie. They came out and said it was not the truth.
Well,
but I feel like Back to the Streets.
But I got 2 more. I got 2 more for you guys.
I'm sorry, Corey. You guess next.
So I got 2 more. Let me get to the 2, and then I have a question for you guys. So then I have rap star Bow Wow and his ex-girlfriend. That was in like 2019. And so my music picks for them would be You Can Get It All, Hood Star, and he doesn't really have a vast catalog. So I thought Let Me Hold You would be.
Okay. Let me hold you down.
So then, okay. So the last one, but certainly not least, is Jay-Z and Solange at the Met Gala, right? Elegance, but equally as vicious, right?
Yes.
So my song selections are Hard Knock Life.
Yes. Knock knock.
Don't Touch My Hair.
Don't touch. Okay.
I'm going to the Met Gala. And 99 Problems.
99 problems.
99 problems.
99 problems because there's 99 problems, but this elevator ain't one.
Okay. So I have a question for both Mike and Corey. Okay. If you could pick elevator music for a fight or just a moment in time with an ex that was just completely crazy, what would that song be?
For me and my ex, it'd be Ludacris. Move, bitch. Get out the way. That would be mine.
You know,
I don't fight. I can't fight. I have no hands. Anybody that know me know I don't got no hands. I do have help, but I'm not about to physically fight you. I will.
It doesn't have to be a physical fight. Just a moment where it was tough. Come on, please. Yes, and.
Okay, I did.
Okay.
Move.
Okay, Corey, what's yours?
I would say mine would be the music from Sanford and Son. That's just like that's how it would go. Y'all just would be seeing her just have her way with me. I'm not a fighter either. Comedians don't know how to fight. You saw what happened to Cat Williams. You're not prepared for that. But
okay.
I do want to say that I can do what Quavo did. To me, that was a tug of war. Like, it was no flexing. He didn't show body language as if he's Quavo, man. He made outlets of what? They don't really do. They like fun guys. They make good music, you know. So when I looked at that scenario and I saw what happened, because couples do argue. I've seen women, you know, do stuff and guys do things. And I want to say that I'm glad that when the elevator closed, he didn't turn into some vicious monster. It was some money in that bag.
But look,
money in that bag.
It was definitely money in that bag.
But he didn't pick her up. He did not pick her up off the ground. And he saw that the tug of war. No, we saw it. She jumps up on one leg and she hops her ass out. There's a few times where he flinched, where he was going to go to reach for her and he didn't. And that's the part I have the problem with. Like, I don't know who hit who did what, the twirling to the elevator, but there was a few moments where she was like, time out, and she's holding herself. Yeah. And you see that he's a little bit conflicted. Like, he wants to give her, but then he kind of does this. Like, he doesn't help her up. And I thought, you know, that's kind of like that's the moment where things I think get real, where you're like, okay, this was stupid, but like, I'm hurt now and this is awkward and like, what do we do? And I can imagine for him, because there's a moment where he looks in the camera.
So thank you. So my other side of the coin, right? Other side of the coin. All that happened, right? You bump her to get the suit, get the bag, the suitcase full of video games away from her, right? Yeah. You bump her with your hip. She flies into the rail on the elevator. She falls down. Now you have two options, right? Because there's a camera in the corner. You can stand there and wait till y'all get off the elevator to finish this discussion, argument, whatever it is, or you can reach down and help her up, and she can do two things. She could sucker punch you and knock you clean out and run off with your suitcase, because she definitely wanted the suitcase, or she could twist that later on and say, y'all couldn't see it on camera, but he reached down and he grabbed me around my neck and he pushed my, you know what I'm saying? You don't know what, you don't, like in an argument, now y'all like love don't live here no more.
No.
Yeah, so I'm not about to put myself in a position for you to say, to give y'all something that y'all can twist later and be like, oh, right here's where he grabbed her and choked her and put his thumb in her nose. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
True.
Tony, if he was your client, how would you spin this? Would you resign on the same day?
Well, probably he wouldn't have been my client, but hypothetically, if based on the way that she had fallen, I probably would say that she had, they were playing and she lost her equilibrium and she took a stumble. And based on that stumble, I couldn't react because I was in shock because she had fallen and I was going to help her up, but the elevator door opened. But since I was still in shock, I was kind of immobilized and I just couldn't, I was at a loss. But, but she recovered really quickly and got out of the elevator. And after she got out, I took her to get some ice cream or whatever. And everything's great. Yeah.
Look, my version of the story, there was a shootout in the hallway and we were both running to safety. She was trying to grab the stuff. I was trying to grab the stuff. We fell into the elevator, right? And then the elevator got stuck. So I was more so worried trying to make sure that we were going to get out the elevator safely. And she got up and got off on her own, and we went on and we finished our audition for The Amazing Race. So we were auditioning.
You know what?
What? It's Quavo. It could have been a shootout in the hallway. They was running for safety, and they both fell into the elevator, and he fell on top of her and hurt her leg. That'll fly. That'll fly in court.
Will it?
It's better than the truth. It's better than the truth. Matthew, how would you spin this story? This is your girl. This is y'all.
I don't know if you can spin it. It's gonna be tough. I mean, I'm just thankful she's okay, because I know we see this a lot in rap music. You see the thing with Megan Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez, how that happened. So honestly, I'm just glad that she's okay. I'm glad that she's safe. I'm glad she's moved on. That was obviously not the relationship for her. He cheated on her, abusing her, all these things going on. So I just think they're better off without one another. And I mean, I really wonder, and maybe Cecily, you can talk about this a little bit more. I do wonder what kind of charges they could have for them. I mean, it's an interesting scuffle. Obviously it's a lot different, unfortunately, than, with Chris Brown, Rihanna, that was a whole situation. We were all there for that. And you saw the pictures and everyone was just dumbfounded at the horror of what occurred. Whereas this, it is interesting. Okay, because do we know exactly when this happened? What was the timeline on this?
We don't know. It's just it's a video previously recorded.
She's saying
the only reason I say that is just because we have seen her on other shows with that one guy with Justin Combs, all that, where she's talking about relationships, and she seemed fine per se, for lack of a better word. So it'd be interesting to see if there were charges, because then you would show that the defendant or the person is doing okay, generally speaking. So it's an interesting situation. So I just wonder what Cecily would think, since you've been in similar situations, as you said before.
Domestic violence abusers they're groomed too. If you don't have that existing trauma, then you kind of learn to mind your business and do what you're supposed to do. So you got girls bleeding, missing teeth, ready to serve family dinner and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that that's what she is, but I've had those petty kind of moments where maybe someone just threw the remote at you real hard, or pushed you a little bit, or yanked you just enough where you fell down. That's abusive, and that doesn't feel good. You know, I mean, I don't know too many women that like to wrestle and that kind of thing. I mean, it's still not an equal playing field, and we don't know what they were saying to each other. So you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they were like, after you, oh, you fell, that is fun. You know, it could have been very hurtful emotionally too. I how about this? At the end of the day, I think her pride is something that we should consider too. She's an up and coming artist. There's a lot of money behind her. And you have this moment where everyone had you on this pedestal and you see this guy treating her like that. She's having to walk around with the shame of being tossed aside, thrown on the ground, where people thought that she was in a loving relationship.
Well, I want to say that,
and also you have to think about like the cooperation of it all too. It's like, are they going to cooperate? That's like they're just going to want to move forward, get this behind them, because I don't think either one of them wants this out there about them. Like, I don't think this is good publicity at all.
Well,
for them.
the DA's office
want to move forward.
But if the DA's office calls them in there, they are going to have to answer to them. And that I'm not saying that they are, but once the DA gets involved in things like this, then they have no choice.
I think I just want to say on this situation, his best bet is to say that he was trying to reenact what would have happened to Solange if Jay-Z was a hood dude. And so he can say that they was playing around and it looked like something, but they was really, and how I had the Beyonce, Jay, like, y'all remember this, Judge? This is what we were trying to do. You know, I'm a rapper. We were trying to do a whole skit around this. That right there.
You know what? I'm gonna mute your mic for the next 5 minutes.
He built her up. So what I'm hearing behind, because like you have to look at her, it's sad, and I'm not trying to blaze her, but she did a freestyle on one of these shows. I can't with what's his name? Ebro.
Ebro.
Mm-hmm. And it was terrible. It was so terrible. I listened to it 3 times because I was like, maybe he was too harsh on her, and she got a lot of her respect and her clout because of Quavo. So a lot of the lesson in this is the entitlement. I think if she was truly self-made, that wouldn't have happened. He wouldn't have touched her like that. He wouldn't have maybe played her like that. And so guys that's controlling, they feel like they own stuff. They own what you have, because that could have been her belongings. That could have been money, booking monies, because if this is her girl. So I'm looking at it like whatever she had, he's looking like, well, you had it because, you know, you messed with me. Where I'm looking at it like, dude, you have to mess with her too. So the woman doesn't lose her value. You can't be mad that she made her value off of you, my man. Just as if you would have messed with Beyonce and got your value off of her. So I think that is a double standard. I think she should have been able to leave with the bag, and he should have looked at that as a lesson. You can't play with people's feelings. Everybody's not going to play that game of this superstar can do whatever he wants and be a superstar playboy. And so it's crazy that the narrative is her being hurt, and then we look at that she could be responsible at all. She's not responsible at all for nothing that happened. I just think that she's a victim of the culture and how men have no value for women at all. Like, even when they're your mate, you will have women in a whole room having the ups on your girl, and she don't know. Then she get mad, and you wonder why she mad. Imagine being in a room and all the dudes know about your lady, and they're experiencing her or whatever. So guys won't put themselves in sweetie shoes, you know. So I think it's really messed up though. She, you know, if she's single, if you out there, sweetie, look, I'm gonna look in the camera. I learned how to look in the camera, baby. I'm ready. Just hit me up.
Yo, hey, so
I ain't got that bag like that though.
Cecily, you about to say something?
I'm loving the energy right now. We're having a good moment.
He brought that around. I was about to slide.
No, at first I was like, Corey,
brought that thing around. I was like, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying now. He didn't think that he owns her because he in his mind he made her career, and that's an amazing point. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, in relationships, you know what I'm saying, things go, you know, things go different ways, and just people think, oh, it's because she's from the hood and he's from the hood or whatever. No, you need to know we're not in the hood no more, boo boo. Okay, no. We have Bentleys and all that. You need to put some respect on my name. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of hood news, speaking of relationships, and just kind of knowing what to do when in certain situations, we're gonna introduce a new segment that we call "What Had Happened Was," and this is basically Corey as our life coach, keeping us in tune with the real and making sure that we know you know what I'm saying, what we should do in any given situation. Corey, what you got for me?
Well, what had happened was news of the day, guys. I have to say. All right, now we all love Ricky Smiley. I love Ricky Smiley. We've seen him on the radio. Very compassionate brother. I actually was so invested in this. I tapped into Zooman and different guys that know him, and was like, man, he talking about he didn't talk to his nephew for 89 years, and I was going through the whole dynamics of who Ricky Smiley was. What had happened was what he should have did. He should have waited to address this once he buried his nephew. That's the first thing I want to say. And what had happened was, I think that the whole dynamic of him being this celebrity and his voice, like, you know, you got to look how exciting it is to have a powerful person in your family that's boisterous, that can make things happen. I think that he felt like he had too much pressure from a grown man, similar to the Kirk Franklin situation. And he wanted his uncle to be there for him in a certain way. He told him to cut his dreads off. And, I mean, he couldn't handle it. And it's a very unfortunate situation that, you know, you're not able to call someone and say, hey, I'm feeling hurt. And so I think in this case of scenario, what I'm learning from this whole scenario being a comedian is that family issues, you should wait and dissect it and think. I mean, we have it here. I don't know if we don't have the video, but I mean, it was pretty emotional for me, because we've all been in scenarios where you want someone to help you, but there's a way to go about it. Uncle was the type of guy that I thought my mic was muted. I'm sorry, guys. He's the type of guy that wants you to go by his rules. So he showed like his son, and his son was saying like, yeah, my dad was tough, and was kind of explaining his parenting skills. But he broke down how many young men lives he's changed. It's a lot. And so I think it's just a sad case of somebody having stress, depression. And I mean, he was 30. So that's an interesting age to feel like you need a job, and you're like, hey, can you help me get a job? And so it's very, I want to hear what you guys think though. I mean, in the last part, the drama that everyone's surrounded around it, it's his sister saying that he's responsible for the death. How do you guys feel about this case and scenario of him being caught responsible for his nephew's passing?
Me personally, I don't think you can be responsible for a person's death unless you killed that person. You know what I'm saying? I did catch the story, and I watched it all the way through, and he made some very valid points. I have nephews and younger brothers who I raised in my house, like, you know what I mean, and fed them, sent them to school, helped them with their homework, did all of that, lived with me for entire like semesters and everything. And I would, if something happened to my younger brother, my best friend who I raised up until the age of 17, left home one day and never came back. You know what I'm saying? So there was a long time that I felt like I felt, nobody told me this, I felt like I was responsible because I was always told that it was my job to protect him. Now, what he a lot of times he didn't listen to what I said. He had his own set of friends. He did what he wanted to do, but I still at the end of the day felt like it was my fault. And for years I felt that way. It took me a long time and some therapy to understand that I had nothing to do with what happened to him. You know what I'm saying? So for somebody to tell you that, hey, mind you, the nephew died of an overdose. Now they're trying to determine whether it was suicide or whether it was an overdose. And Ricky Smiley went on to say, I didn't give him the pill. If you're going to blame somebody, blame the person that gave him the pill. Blame him for taking a pill from somebody and not knowing what's in it. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like that was a setup. That was a setup for a money grab. You know what I'm saying? For her to go on television and boo-hoo and cry into a camera for a person who not only raised your son, raised your brother, but also took into, no, this is a nephew, so it was her son. Was it her son?
It was her brother. That was her brother.
So he went to court and got custody of the boy, right? That's how much he cared about the boy. He went 8 years without talking to him, right? And then when he came back into the picture, Ricky Smiley says, I went into my black book and I called a favor in, and I got him a job in Miami. And then he told me $100,000 a year job, and he told me that he's gonna pass on it because he don't want to cut his hair. And then after that, you know what I'm saying? He said in the video that this whole drug thing is not new. This is not new. This is something that they've had conversations about at length. So I feel like we've had this conversation at length. This is not something new that he's done. And then this time he did it and he passed away. And for you to make a whole video, bitch, you could have. I'm sorry, because I don't know that lady. Lady, you could have called me. You could have called me and said, "Hey, this is how I feel about this. I feel like it was a money grab, or I feel like it was clout."
But Mike, I have a question, Mike.
Can I answer this? I agree with both you guys, and I feel like we've got some family issues. Yeah, there's obviously some dissension there in the family, and suicidal thoughts are a byproduct of mental illness. This man, and I think when I heard the video, I feel like I heard him say the young man had problems anyway. He had some problems, and that he was always a light in his life, that he always tried to give him his best, and he was always trying to encourage him to do better. And what I heard from the woman was that he was exposed to this lifestyle, and Ricky kind of made him feel like he'd never measure up, and that he was not happy with self. And so they're trying to find a reason why he would end his life. And nobody wants to own that, because you do see your family members going through things and you don't know how to help them. It's so much easier to say, well, it's Ricky, because Ricky does that one thing, and that's just, we don't like Ricky and blah, 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 because at one time he stepped on my toe, stuff like that. I don't think there's any credence in what she's saying. I think she's really hurt and she wanted to air him out in general, and this would be the opportunity for her to do that. It's unfortunate that they're putting their family business out here like that. At the end of the day, they're missing one of their loved ones. Right. And that's the hardest part, because I think that we all can relate to that when someone dies, how everybody's pointing fingers and the shit show begins. So I just want to add that.
Yeah. Do you think I'm asking Tony this from a PR stance? Do you feel as though Ricky Smiley, with him saying sometimes you gotta let a young man off at 10 years, 8, 9, 10 years, and let him come back? I think that he said and he had issues, and we can see that now. A lot of the things that he said, I heard I heard how he was kind of like a jerk a little bit, in the sense of he was insensitive at points, and I felt like he could have still kept the point of him being a tough man, a good resource for his nephew, and I feel like he showed maybe a sign of somebody that's like my way or the highway, which is fine, because it's, we are different. But I saw some things in that video that I heard that he could have not said and still been made a great point. And I think that it's a classic family scenario. But I'm wondering, what do you think he should have did in that?
You're muted.
Okay, I'm up. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you think that video was good for the brand, Tony?
I'm sorry?
Do you think that video was good for the brand?
Ricky's brand?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you can navigate away from the way someone feels. I think Ricky did what he could as a supportive relative. And, at the end of the day, I don't think he's responsible for his nephew's death. Whatever his nephew was going through that they couldn't get to the bottom of, this is a sidebar. And this is just like saying there was a high-level executive from a major network whose son committed suicide. No one could say that this executive gave everything that she possibly could to her son. And he was, for all we know, a lot of times we just don't know what the person who killed himself is going through. He could have been depressed, like you said, that he couldn't live up to the expectation. Sometimes that takes people out, and there's no one to really talk about. So it's just like pouring water into an endless hole. If they can't get to the bottom of the situation from the individual person that's having the issue, then you kind of just spinning your wheels.
So do you think do you think that the response video that he did was good for the brand? I'm sorry, I didn't clarify it.
I think that he spoke his truth, be it good or not. I mean, where he stood, and I think that's important. At the end of the day, as we said earlier, he will recover from this. The loss is going to be hurtful, and that is a nephew that he will never have again or never see. But at the end of the day, it's just like knowing if you've done all that you can for somebody, they can't blame you for that, and I don't think they could do any harm could be done to his brand. He did what he was supposed to do. He did what he could do, and here we are at the end result. So what more do you want?
Go ahead.
I would say real quick, I agree with you, Corey. I do feel like he was insensitive. I just couldn't imagine getting on camera, doing a video while I'm driving to Kroger. I mean, which makes me feel like they have beef. You know what I mean?
Beef.
I just think it's previous. I think it's a whole bunch of other stuff because I wouldn't be there with the mask on my chin and driving, and you know where I'm not going. It just, to me, it seems like they're both in their feelings and they're not focusing on what's important.
Can I say something?
Let me say this. Would you want to prepare a statement so it can be pretty and eloquent so that you can and that's what you want because it makes
yes,
you
I would. No, that's what I want. That's what I would do.
That's what you would do so it can make everyone else feel better?
It don't have nothing to do with everybody else. I'm presentational because that's how I represent my brand. When it comes down to who I am and what I do, I care about the family first. Mm-hmm. And then since you brought it to the world, then you're going to get the best version of me because when he shows up at work, he's dressed a certain way. The set is done. They do everything a certain way. Right. He's a polished professional. He has been for most of his whole life. So I thought, why would this be the moment that for me, if I'm doing a video in the car and I'm driving, it's, this bitch, hold up. First of all, you know what I'm saying? Like that was an emotional read, if you ask me.
It was.
He had enough. He had enough. So maybe
he said, "Look where he's at now."
Censor himself before he did the video.
As a comedian, timing is everything. We don't have even like the integrity behind me being on here. Everything you guys can be like, man, you're a comedian. You should know timing. He knows timing.
Yes, he does.
He does. He did not have to say, "Look where he's at." It proven now. Look where he's at now.
That shit's crazy. If that was my baby, I would say that. I would show up at the house.
Look where he at. Look where he at.
But here's the thing.
Like, that was harsh. I was like, whoa.
Here's my point. My point is this. I think he came from a place of where the fuck was y'all at when he needed y'all. Like I took him into my house. I went to court and I took custody of him. I had 7, 8 other lives that I was responsible for, and he is doing whatever he wants to do whenever he feels like it. I tell him don't wear his hair a certain type of way because it's not professional. He does what he wants to do. I tell him to come in the house at a certain time. He comes in when he wants to do. I tell him no, don't break the rules of my house, and he does what he wants to do. So at some point, I have to think about the other lives that are impacted by what he's doing. I've got these other kids that are in my home that are following the rules, and I'm not going to let this one person ruin the whole batch. So this guy now has to go off and do whatever he has to do. If I felt that way about him, I would have never let him back in. But when he reached out back to me, I took him back in again. We buried the hatchet because he knew he was wrong. So he came back. We buried the hatchet. He said, "This is what I want to do with my life." And then I said, "Okay, cool. I'm going to once again put my name and the brand that you guys are describing on the line so that I can help you get to a place like I did for all these other kids who made these testimonial videos of how wonderful it was to be mentored by a person, even though he was strict and he had rules." And then you tell me, "Yeah, I want your help, but I want you to help me how I want you to help me. And I don't want to go. I'm willing to move to Miami and take this job, but I want to keep my dreads because that's what everybody rocking. I still want to fit in." Bro, cut that off. Get this job. Make your first $100,000. Just pivot into something that you really want to do for a living, where you can wear your hair how you want to do and do it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was the emotion behind it. Like, how dare you try to Kirk Franklin me and say like, "Oh, I'm the horrible person," and this, that, the third, because my brand is church and my brand is this wholesome image, and now you're gonna come out and be like, "Oh, he died because Ricky the Smiley wouldn't take no BS off of him." And for me, as a person that's been in that position, if one of mine would be like, "Yo, I'm not doing it," "Oh, you got to slide, Playboy. We're not in my house." And like he told his sister, when you got arrested, I was the first person at your mama house with money for your lawyer because your mother wanted to make sure that you had representation, and you weren't even speaking to me at the time.
You know what that makes me think of though? Like of all the people I know that have like, there's that one rich family member and then everybody else is around them. And there's that orbit and there's like some sort of contention. It seems like that family member is always like, "I put your kids through school. I did this because you're broke. I did this because you're on drugs. I did this because you're no good." I feel like it was too much of that. So I couldn't actually say, "Wow, Rick's actually a stand-up guy," because he's taking all this on. You also have the ability to do it and not even be there. You can hire teams of people to take care of all these kids. So honestly think that it was an emotional response for sure, and he didn't think about the implications. It's
sure.
not my business. Like, I'm not judging them,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's like somebody is not here, and that's the messed up part about it.
Yeah, exactly. And he said that in the video. He said, like, he said, you guys act like I'm not burying my nephew. Because once again, guess who's probably gonna bury the nephew?
He's got
Yeah,
to.
he's gonna pay for it. And you know that heifer gonna be sitting there walking around with her nose up in the air.
Dang, man, that's a
In the
messed up
family
scenario,
car,
boy.
in the family car, in the front seat with 17 dozen roses that somebody else paid for, up there, boo-horn crying, trying to fall in the hole with the boy. Like and I feel like that's where the contention came from. Because you talking all this now, trying to badmouth me, and guess what? When the bill comes to put this boy in the ground, who y'all gonna send it to?
Well, I think too that it goes back to the time. A lot of times in families, there are people who actually talk about stuff, and there are actually people that show you. You know, they put the action behind the love. So he's done all these things for his nephew, and we just can't like counsel him because he said something. He didn't express himself the way that we would have wanted him to express himself. We just can't.
Corey, you want to close us out on this topic?
Well, yes, I do. I want to just rule that being compassionate, you have to worry about how you release your energy. I mean, through talking to several comedians that have actually worked with him, he's a very compassionate guy. So I stand along with him. I just learned a huge lesson from him as well as an entertainer. Look, if I'm dealing with family issues, I need to make sure I know what I'm going to say and what stance and what is my motive. What is your motive? If you can see that it is rage or upset or you're trying to prove a point, maybe that's not the time to do so. Because if I agree with Cicely, because it's the fact of if he was like a beat maybe 2 seconds slower, it would have been way better than how he was kind of like and this and that and that. It didn't seem like it was natural, like So I think he'll get back. He's definitely gonna get back from this.
I agree. It could have been better in some people's opinion, and it could have been worse. Like I just don't know how to respond in the moment. You know what I'm saying? When I'm in my feeling. Like for instance, for me, like I have a situation right now, right, and I really don't know how to respond to the situation, so I'm not responding yet. You know what I'm saying? Because the only thing I can really say to myself in this moment is not today, Satan. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not going to let certain things get to me how they used to. You know what I'm saying? And so somebody sent my girl, right? So I'm seeing somebody, and she decided she's going to send a provocative video to one of my friends. And Matthew?
Uh-oh.
Is he meditating?
He's into the frozen universe.
I thought he's meditating.
Oh, Elsa, you here? Okay. So anyway, cue the video. My girl sent my homeboy.
Show you how much I appreciate you. Wanna show you how much I'm dedicated to you. Wanna show you how much I will forever be true. Wanna show you how much you got your girl feeling good. Wanna show you how much you understood. Wanna show you how much I value what you say. Not only are you loyal, you're patient with me, babe. Wanna show you how much I really care about your heart. Wanna show you how much I hate being apart. Show you till you do with me. I wanna keep it how it is. You can never say how it used to be.
Okay, so look,
What did we just watch?
that's not my girlfriend. But whoever she said, not today say, not today saying.
We lost Matthew on that. I don't know.
Matthew couldn't take it. It was too much sexy. It was too much sexy for him. Matthew was like, it's too much sexy. There was just too much sexy going on in that video. I don't know who she recorded that for, but she meant that thing. You hear me? She meant it. Baby, it was the jazz hands for me. When she came around that third microwave and she put them hands down like that and brought it back up, and she was like, wow, baby, that kick. Ooh, the cross, man, look, hey, I don't know who you take that for, but if he don't get what I got from it, he ain't the man for her. He's not the man for her. It takes you know how much love you have to have in your heart to light up every microwave in the house. Okay.
Look at Corey's face. Corey is shocked. Corey, are you okay?
Well, no, I've never been in the situation where I thought about stuff that I was thinking. I'm like, damn, I ain't never had no pocket pussy before.
Well,
like, damn, but it must be more cushy for the
today.
pussy, though.
Not today. Not today.
it must be more
today. Not today.
Look, he's nice and circular. I'm nice and slim. Any room we walk in, we'd be a walking 10. We would be a walking 10 in every room. Everybody be looking like, damn, look at them.
Let me tell you something.
Though, man, if you want for your brother what you want for yourself.
Let me tell you something. Do you understand the level? Do you understand the risk? She risked it all for whoever that was. She risked it. Do you know how much faith it took to sit on 3 microwaves and put all your body weight backwards and lean your head back into that camera for the man of your dreams? Whoever she sent that for, if sweetheart, whatever your name is, whoever that was, don't appreciate you the way I appreciated you deep down in my greater soul. He ain't the one for you. You need to move on.
Mike, can I say something?
Go.
I just want to know what brand of microwave it is, because
baby,
stronger than Gorilla Glue.
Baby, baby, if they don't run that commercial this on Black Friday, baby, this microwave can survive anything. You hear me? I'm talking about. And she had all the microwave. I wonder if those microwaves still work, or those are ones that they just went through. She just go through microwaves. Like she just like. Oh yeah. Them like easy bake ovens for her. She's like,
what is she making? Is she a microwave cook? Like who has that many microwaves in a lifetime? Like
her, she took every microwave on the block. She called all her homegirls like, bitch, bring the microwaves over, because you know how it be when you ain't got no Instagram crush and you hit the message, and then 2 years later they be like, oh, just saw this, my bad, what's up, boo? And she was like, oh my God, he ready.
Hey, Mike, she look like she makes some good salmon croquettes.
Boy, she made salmon. All them croquettes she was croquetting. All the croquettes were salmon. She got a hard L. She was salmon. Mm-hmm. She had the salmon croquettes.
She look like a back tooth. She look like a back tooth.
Look, I'm gonna let you talk about this. I ain't gonna let you mess with my friend. My friend is in love.
Okay.
Inspired.
Actually, hold on. I've got her on the line. Cecily, can you bring her in? We're gonna have her on the show.
She's in the green room.
Shoot.
That's Matthew went to go get her. He'll be right back. Look, my thing is this. Okay, well, you know how they always say find something nice to say. Well, I'm gonna find it, because that's baby. I don't love nobody like that. I want to. I want to love somebody. I want to love somebody that hard that I will risk it all. If one of those microwaves would have crushed down, she would have been stuck either in between 2 microwaves or dangling off one microwave.
Hey, that's literally microwave love. That's literally microwave love for real.
That's 30 seconds of romance right there. Woo, shucks. I just want to love somebody like that. I'm gonna say that. Sis, whoever you is, baby. You hit them move when she hit them hands, that foot cross, baby. That type of love don't exist no more. That is pure love, and I want to love somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? I want to love somebody like that.
She definitely is a girl that if she was on the 3rd floor, she'd probably walk hard. You would hear her in the basement for sure.
Baby, do you know how many trips? Do you know how many trips up and down the stairs it took to get all the microwaves outside? Just film. She probably had another microwave that the phone was
Like,
propped
bro.
up against in order to whoever she is, mama. I don't know who you made that video for. But I'm just gonna say that on this segment of Not Today, Satan, I want that kind of love in my life. I want somebody to love me that much. They risk their whole life for me to know that they want me that bad. And I want them to touch my soul the way you touch my soul today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in for today's episode of Social Distractions. I had a blast. I love my cast. Cecily Jamala, Tony DP, Comic Corey B, Mike Mizzle, signing off. We see y'all next week, Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Come back, be in the audience, and we're going to talk about some more of what y'all talking about and some stuff y'all ain't never seen before, because I ain't never seen that before. I feel like that was like Baby Shark goes to ballet school or something. It was
Bro.